If you're an attractive, godly man on the semen retention path, there are going to be many things that will happen to you because of the fact that you're just simply attractive. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the most handsome guy in the world, but I know that just by my mere presence, I'm going to be able to attract any type of woman that I really want. Now, do they have what it takes to be with me? Well, that's a different story. That's something that we have to vet as men to do. And on semen retention, your discernment is going to be higher. But I think what a lot of people don't talk about is the loneliness of the attractive man on semen retention. They don't talk about why this is. And the reason being is because many people just don't know how to relate to it, that are actually attractive. They don't know why they're attractive, and yet there's having this, there's this ability that they seem to be lacking, but it's really not a lacking. It's just more of like everybody else is sexualizing you and they're projecting you to be a certain way. And when you're not that way, when you're actually trying to just be a righteous man, they're taken aback by it and they don't know how to handle it. Now, welcome to another Semen Retention Sunday episode on the Regal Change account. And this is going to be the topic for today. What we're going to be talking about is why people just don't really even want to see where you're coming from a lot of the time, because they have an image of who you're supposed to be in their mind. Because if you think about it, attractive men in movies or smut books, and anybody that doesn't know what a smut book is, it's basically like a sexual book for women. It's like corn, but for women. And in these smut books, attractive men are supposed to be the bad boys, right? They're supposed to be these savages, but are not godlike. And we want to be godlike savages. We want to be able to have the capacity for savagery, but also be in that godlike mindset and have that godlike mastery to us. And what's interesting is that you'll see that a lot of people may not take you seriously because of your attraction, especially when it comes to, or with women, they'll take you way too seriously. You could say anything and they don't care. And that is interesting as a phenomenon. It's kind of like where the classic example that I give is, imagine you have the energy, the spiritual energy of Megan Fox in her prime as a man. Okay, you have, as a man, that kind of spiritual energy that Megan Fox has, where in her prime in Transformers, right? Every dude that I knew, it didn't matter. Like, every dude that I knew, young, old, whatever, they all loved that kind of woman because she was the ultimate siren. Okay, she was the ultimate seductress. She was anything and everything a man could want, and that's natural for the most part at that time. And more, right? The thing is, though, is that she was also a seductress and she was also a siren. So the thing that made her like this bad girl was also the thing that really attracted men. And it's the same type of energy with the attractive man. If you have the spiritual groundedness and you have the spiritual strength to resist women, you can let go. Like, you leave a lot of pink palace on the table, let's say. You leave a lot of pink palace on the table. You're able to walk away because you know that you're trying to actually better yourself. You actually want a long-term relationship. You want to have a family. And you know that these short-term flings or whatever aren't going to do anything for you. Sure, it could be fun. I think only a fool would think that it's not going to be fun. Because who wouldn't want, as a man, who wouldn't want that kind of attraction or that kind of attention? Now, you might say to yourself, well, I don't want attention. I don't mind this. So it's like, well, do you though? Because here's the thing, because a lot of attractive men on semen retention, they have a very difficult time with trying to get a woman that is actually capable of being taken seriously. A lot of women just, they almost like see you to be this cheater or whatever, and so they'll try to sabotage the relationship before anything actually starts to truly develop, because they don't want to be hurt. They would rather just hurt the relationship and themselves and you in the process, because in reality, you and this other person exist in the relationship. You are not in the relationship with them. The relationship is a part of you and a part of them. So you exist in the relationship. But when women, a lot of the times, women will sabotage these attractive men who are actually trying to wait, that are actually trying to do righteous things, because they think that this man is going to go off and do something bad, because that's exactly what the bad boy does in all these movies and such. Okay, you'll see the bad boy men go out and sleep with whoever and then come back to the main woman and be like, the main woman, right? And be like, oh, but it was a mistake. It was a mistake. Like, I just love you, baby, blah, 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 blah. And the woman will forgive this person, right? And don't get me wrong, I've seen countless times where women will forgive you for having the capacity to cheat, and maybe even cheating itself. And I've never cheated, but I've seen it happen with other attractive men. But I've seen where women will forgive that, but they will never, ever, ever forgive a guy that is spineless. And there's perhaps nothing more spineless than a man who can't say no to women. There really isn't. I can't think of anything that is I cannot think of anything less disgraceful, or anything more disgraceful, depending on how you look at it, than not being able to say no to a woman. Because if you're not able to say no to a woman, that means that you're likely not able to say no to yourself. And if you can't say no to yourself, then you don't actually have self-discipline. You're actually part of the cuck army, and you're just out there being a depleted coomer, not knowing you're depleted coomer, and you're maybe acting like a Karen and you don't even know it, So you got to be mindful of these things. You got to be weary of these things. You got to be aware that this is what's going to happen on the journey sometimes. With semen retention as an attractive man, is that some other dudes will try to sabotage you just because you're attractive. They'll try to get inside your head and they'll try to be friends with you just because they want something from you. They just want something because they feel like maybe your attractiveness will rub off on them or whatever. And what's weird is that it's so strange to see this play out, because it actually happens. And you might, even as a man, have struggles with too many women wanting you. Now look, a lot of men will hear that and be like, oh yeah, that's a big problem for you, huh? You're like, oh yeah, please tell me more, you whatever derogatory term you want to place in there. And it's like, no, it actually is kind of an issue, because a lot of these times these women only want you because other women want you. They don't actually want you because they want you. They want you because somebody else wants you. And this is the weirdness that comes with this territory as an attractive man on semen retention. You've got to be mindful of these types of women. You've got to be able to discern whether or not the woman is that or not. Is she who she says she is? Is she acting the way that she needs to act? Or is she not? This is something that you just have to apply more directly to your life. And you've got to be able to know these things. And yes, it's going to be a lonely path. It feels like nobody really wants to be around you because they just want to project that you have this competence, or like you're like this James Bond, right? They want to perceive that you're like this James Bond. And when you're not as good as you could be, like, think about this, right? How do I say this? It's almost more profitable spiritually, economically, and socially for you to be perceived as not so good and actually be better than you are, than to be perceived to be good and not be as good as you are, or looking rather. So I say, there's nothing wrong with looking good. There's nothing wrong with smelling nice. Do those things, personal hygiene, solid stuff. Okay. Practicing semen retention. it's good. You're growing closer to God. You're becoming more pure. You're letting go of these generational curses. You're bringing in the sense of understanding. You're understanding your archetypes within you. You're understanding your own psychology. You're understanding your own philosophy of life. You're understanding all these different things about you, and that's fantastic. But also, you have to remind yourself and remember that there's going to be a lot of people that want you sexualized. There's going to be a lot of people that want you to be confident in certain things, or like they're going to be almost surprised if you have any kind of vulnerabilities or so. That's something that's also going to happen. So the main thing that you want to do is to just make sure you're building yourself up, building your finances, get a stream of income coming in, get a stream of multiple sources of income if you can coming in, because I was just talking to somebody earlier about this in the Regal Change Academy. You don't ever want to have like a drought of money coming in, because that can really that can really shift you. And it's better to even have just $10, of passive income coming in than nothing at all. Okay, now of course you want more than that. Heck, you could even, if you're doing Bitcoin or whatever, you would have even, a couple thousand sats coming in, right? For those of you that know what Bitcoin is, or at least not the verbiage there, you know what I'm talking about. But if not, I encourage you to go research Bitcoin because it's awesome. But nonetheless, you have your finances in check, you have your body in check, okay? You have your mind shaped and renewed, okay? You can renew your mind. You have these Stoic principles that you can apply to your life. You have biblical principles that you can apply to your life. And you're going to be able to wage war on whatever needs to be waged war on when the time comes, because you've conserved energy and you haven't wasted resources. Okay, that's really, at the end of the day, it's better to be a lonely person than to be surrounded with the wrong people, because they will literally screw up with your mind. Being in certain kinds of environments really do play a factor for you. So, with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. If you do want to schedule a one-on-one session with me, check out the Godlike Mastery Initiation Program or just the regular one-on-ones. We also have the Regal Change Academy is now free to join, but if you want to be on the calls or in the classes or anything like that, that's where you're going to have that paywall and make that payment. Other than that, I hope you guys stay blessed. Peace. Until next time.